This video is showing disassembly of Seydel's new VOLCANY 12-volt chromatic harmonica. You'll enjoy it, I'm sure. I would begin with some opening comments. This is a very, very fine harmonica with a rich tone, super quality build, and improvements over some of the things that I think the Saxony has. But anyhow, so I think it's a really, really great instrument. I'll hit a couple notes for you, This happens to be tuned in orchestra tuning, which is what you get if you cover the first two holes and the last two holes of a 16-hole harmonica. So it starts at G3, goes up to F sharp 6. I'm thinking a typical 16 is gonna start at, or a typical 12-holer would start at C4, maybe go up to B flat 7 or something like that. Anyhow, essentially we have a harmonica which is based on some of the stuff happening with the Saxony. Big difference is, of course, we have a full brass comb, we have full brass covers, and solid brass mouthpiece. So this is pretty premium stuff. And here we go. By the way, I had this toothpick in the harmonica because that's how I let them air out, and all the chambers air out after I'm playing. You only put it in a millimeter past the slide. There are some things about this design that are pretty unusual and pretty cool. Okay. Pretty standard screws with older style bumpers. And then this is this beautiful solid brass mouthpiece, which is rounded. And the holes, unlike some early prototypes, are actually smooth to the lip, so it's not going to bite you. Beautifully made, and just for fun, let's see something here. It's got a small amount of bow in it, very slight. And of course they do that on purpose to provide light down pressure here and here so that the center presses down a little bit. Now the second component here is what I call a flat blank. And in this case, if you can picture, when the slide goes in and out on the flat blank, the flat blank almost acts like a windshield wiper a little bit, and you don't have the underside of the mouthpiece mating directly with the slide, which with mouth goop issues can create kind of a sluggish harp, and I would include that be Suzuki design like SCX and some of the others. Then this next component is what I call an H-bar. This is like a little I-beam, in construction, and it's very much a stabilizing influence and creates between the H-bar and then the slide and then the flat blank and then the mouthpiece. Mouthpiece. A very stable configuration. Now, short throw slide, what does that mean? How much you have to push in the slide to activate it? It's about 5 millimeters. If you take a look, that new button, now this is very, very similar to the button that's on the Symphony, but a little smaller in my opinion. And it does have a curvature this way, so it's kind of more comfy to the hand and play, and it's a little rubberish here, so it's got a little bit of stiction on it. Very nice, and the little holes that you get. Now, it is true that these holes are smaller than a cross-tuned harp, because this is a straight-tuned harp. But I haven't found any problem with the volume at all. It's got a lot of volume. Okay, and so now, we're to the part where we're going to start taking the covers off. And we take out those screws. You want to hold the harp together while you're doing this, by the way, and that way it kind of stays together. Now, what I do to get a harp apart is just drop it. So I don't try and do anything with my hands. And these things here are cover stanchions. They just keep the cover off. And, this is one of the few harmonicas I've left stock. Normally, I am customizing harps a whole bunch, but I didn't on this. There's reasons. But anyhow, so you can see we have stainless steel reeds. This is German silver reed plate, which is not silver, but it's a very high-grade metal. And of course, they do mark the date that it was made. Again, solid brass. I will give you a caution here. This is highly polished brass, and if you were to put this on a surface like a table that had grit, like sand on it, or any kind of stuff that's hard, you could scratch it pretty easily. You see, I keep it on paper or wood. Let's keep going with our disassembly. Now, you might say, how do you ensure that reed plates are aligned properly in relation to the comb? And that's these screws here that are these teeny little ones that are fluted. And that fluting really centers this. So I put them in and tighten them before all the others. And then we come here. And this one is not a screw that's fluted just to hold the reed plate on. Well, that's great. That shows you what can happen and why it is you don't want to work on a harmonica on carpet, because that spring did jump out of there. And again, it's always a good idea to put all the parts kind of into here as we're doing it. These reed plates are the newer reed plate design from 5 years ago, about, or maybe a little more. They have a little bit of an indentation here for the cover to set in, and before that they were smooth. These are a new type of breast saver, which is clear. They're very nice. I like them a whole bunch. And so now what we'll do is we'll kind of keep on going with our disassembly. As you know, screws on this model go all the way through from this side to this side. And so, I would just come in here and gently do that. You'll notice that on a professional screwdriver, this back end twirls, so you can do what I just did. And I'm not in any rush, so I'll just go ahead and do them like this. So in other words, I can stabilize the screwdriver back on my hand and then use my fingertips to twirl. And these all go in the same cover over here. So I kind of keep my parts together and always in a container. You'd be very unhappy if you lost a part. You could get another one from Seydel, because they do offer all parts here in the United States for everything. That's one of the things that I think is like absolutely super cool about Seydel is the superb parts availability, and also I would say their service protection. I think there's a 2-year warranty on these new from factory. I'm not positive about that. So I'm just taking out the reed plate screws. And you do want to make sure that you seat that screwdriver properly in the screw so you're not flipping around and twirling on the top. Okay. We have that and that. And let's take a look here. I think, I'm wondering, is that screw still holding this on? I guess, huh? It does have a depth bump on it here, so that you know, in other words, it will go down to its proper height, which is nice. And now this reed plate can come off. But why not do a complete disassembly? I mean, that's what we're here for, so I have no problem with that. I am holding the harp together still with my hand, as you can see. Oh, one more fluted screw. These are teeny. This is, I see a lot of harps where those are lost, by the way, and we take that off. Okie doke. So here is our comb, CNC cut out of solid brass, and I mean, it is exquisite. Okay, let's address some questions. Does this harp have a better sound than Saxony? Yeah, if you want a rich tone, Saxony's a little brighter. Why? I don't care what you change on a harp, it's going to change its sound a little bit. Like one mouthpiece to another mouthpiece, one set of covers to another cover, opening the cover, a different comb material, different reeds. They all have an impact on the sound to a professional musician's ear. And so I'd say, yeah, they do. But I gotta say, see, one of the most important values for a harmonica is that it be dead airtight from factory. Most that are for sale today are not dead airtight from factory. Most of the Seydels are. But if it's airtight, it will respond to breath very quickly. When you change breath direction, you also have tremendous control of bends and vibrato. And the harp can play very easily at very low volumes, and at higher volumes, air is not leaking out. So this is a very, very airtight design. I will say I think that this is one of the finest harmonicas they've ever made. But I'll say that the symphony models are superb instruments and very modern as well. You know, some people maybe might grump about this 4-part mouthpiece, you know, but they just don't know how to deal with it and put it together. And if you're not sure how to put these together, you ought to hang around and watch the next video where I'll show you how to properly reconstruct this harmonica. Anyway, that's it. Symphony, 12-hole Volcany, available in C solo tuning, starting at C4, and orchestra starting at G3.